Hello everybody, my name is Ryan Averett. I am a licensed clinical social worker and a mental health therapist, and today I wanted to make a quick video discussing anxiety, how avoidance makes anxiety worse, and how we can get out of that cycle with exposure. So let's jump right into it. Breaking the anxiety avoidance loop. I should make a quick note here that there's sort of two ways we tend to think about anxiety. We think about generalized anxiety, where people sort of feel generally anxious throughout the day, or there's lots of different things that can cause anxiety. And then there's more specific anxiety, and that's more what we're focused on today. Specific triggers or specific stressors that lead to lots of anxiety for somebody. We'll talk about what's anxiety, we'll talk about the role of avoidance, we'll talk about the long-term intensification of anxiety that comes with avoidance, and then we'll talk about how to break that cycle with exposure. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is the body's alert system, and it is a normal response to a perceived threat. A lot of people tend to pathologize anxiety and talk about it like it's only a negative thing, but it's not. It can be a very positive thing. So some examples of this might be feeling your heart race before a big presentation, or overthinking before texting somebody back. But the key point here is that anxiety itself is not bad, it's protective. It can become a problem whenever it starts to interfere with your daily life, but in and of itself, anxiety is not a bad thing. It's just our body's alert system to what is a perceived threat. Now, what's the role of avoidance? Well, avoidance is the instinct to escape or delay situations that make us anxious. So some examples of this, you might imagine skipping a job interview because the thought of failing feels very overwhelming, or ignoring emails to avoid the anxiety of bad news, or declining social events out of fear of social judgment. So anxiety works in the short term, and I want to be very clear about that. We would not avoid things that cause anxiety if it didn't work. But in the long term, it doesn't solve the problem of whatever the thing is that we're avoiding. We just don't have to deal with it in the moment. It leads to long-term intensification. So through repeated avoidance, anxiety gets stronger, and you become more likely to avoid stressors. So you might imagine public speaking, like if you skip any small chances to speak publicly, this only makes the big presentation that you have later down the line scarier. Or if you've been in a car accident and your way of coping with that is to avoid driving altogether, this is going to keep that anxiety alive and growing. So avoidance shrinks your world and makes anxiety more difficult to manage over time. So, how do we solve this? One way is through exposure. So, exposure means gradually facing feared situations and allowing anxiety to reduce naturally over time. Some examples of this might be if you have social anxiety and you want to do gradual exposure, you can start by attending a party for 10 minutes, and the next time you'll attend for 30 minutes, and then the next time you attend for 45, and then an hour, and then an hour and a half, and then 2 hours, starting very slow and gradually working your way up. Another example might be somebody who has a specific phobia of elevators, so they might start by looking at pictures of elevators on their computer. And for some people who have a fear of elevators, maybe this isn't too anxiety-provoking, but for some, maybe it causes a lot of anxiety. So we start with that, and we'll go through that until that starts to almost feel boring. And then, okay, once we're at that point, maybe we'll go to a public place and stand 50 feet away from an elevator. And same thing. It's going to cause anxiety at first, but we get to a point where it causes less and less anxiety, and then we'll go to 20 feet, and then we'll go to 5 feet away, and then maybe we press the button and retreat, and then maybe we press the button, walk inside the elevator, and then retreat out before the elevator doors shut. And we do this slowly to the point where we can get to the point where we press the elevator button, get in the elevator, and actually ride the elevator. Exposure shows your brain that the feared outcome is less likely or that it's survivable. Progress is built step by step, not by diving right into the scariest situation immediately. And you can also use professional support to help with this. And if you have severe anxiety, I would recommend that you do. So you can go to a therapist, a CBT therapist, an ACT therapist, and they can help you go through exposure therapy in a safe and gradual way. So, if there's something in your life that you've identified as something that you ought to engage with and it causes anxiety, then the best way to feel more comfortable engaging with it is gradual exposure over time. That is about all I had to say on this topic for today. So I hope you learned something. I hope this was helpful in some way. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.